My oaths betray each other till there's nothing left to keep.
Only Us by Miracle of Sound. Alright, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 2 of Words of Radiance, where we read chapters 5 through 9. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Darkness.
Hello.
And Mythic. Alright. And they have been complaining about how I left them on a cliffhanger unintentionally.
It wasn't unintentional.
It was
Stop lying to the audience.
unintentional!
No, but the thing is, y'all be thinking the cliffhanger with Vesna. I just literally wanted to like see the abilities tested.
What?
That's
No, that's the cliffhanger. Darkness.
Oh, okay.
Darkness. The paladin part is the cliffhanger. I want to see what he can and cannot do.
Right. Who cares about Vesna, you know?
Yeah, who gives a shit about any of that? But we'll get into that.
Yeah. I forgot to bring up the pictures, because there's a picture here for Mythic for the forehead glyphs that they got last chapter, or last episode.
We got stuff?
Yeah, there was... Here you go, Mythic. This is the glyphs they got on their forehead.
Ooh.
That was like last time.
Yeah, so you get it right before chapter 5 here.
That's the glyph that they. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
what they've got
that.
over their
Bridge four
slave
got
brands.
Gotcha.
And then it also shows you the little uniform insignia that they're getting for their uniforms. But yeah, so we start with chapter 5, Ideals, and our epigraph is, the sign on the wall proposed a greater danger even than its deadline. To foresee the future is of the Voidbringers. From the Journal of Navani Colon, Genesis 1174. So do you agree that whoever or whatever wrote on the wall is a Voidbringer or related to the Voidbringers?
Well, I mean, we don't know what the Voidbringers actually are, so.
I wanted to be people that have like bad spren. You know?
Evil Spren.
I mean, we
Yeah.
did learn, I think, previously that there are Void Spren, apparently.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but does that mean that they're evil? No.
well, no, but I'm saying like on the opposite side of whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, light and darkness, you know.
So like
Lying and,
mhm.
Truth. What about truthful lies, though?
There's no such thing as truthful lies.
Pattern disagrees.
I know, but Pattern is wrong.
Pattern is the best boy.
What the fuck you mean?
I love
truthful lies?
Pattern.
I love Pattern.
Pattern's my favorite spread of all time. He's the best.
He's the best one so far.
I love him. He's like,
He's so dumb.
lies.
I like it.
I mean, you guys don't hear the voice that they give Pattern, but it is very childlike.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Yeah, I mean, very childlike. The
He's a
way
good
that they
boy.
talk. Yeah. And it just makes me not like them even more.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Pattern is the best. He's the
I feel like
best.
they're infiltrating. I feel like they're infiltrating Schlong's mind.
But yes, do you have any other thoughts about if Voidbringers or someone related to the Voidbringers, the one writing?
I just think they're like,
the countdown?
you know, I feel like Voidbringers are the same. You know how that in that flashback or whatever, that vision
Mhm.
where they tell Dalinar, oh, like if this one person touches a spren, they go like weird, they go strange or whatever. Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I feel like that's
there was
Voidbringer
an
stuff.
entity or a person who could corrupt the Spren, they said.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
Voidbringer stuff.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's odium. Yeah, for sure.
And also, I feel like if we go in that route where Voidbringers are people with bonds to like spren on the opposing side,
Mm-hmm.
then it would make sense for that one god to be talking about Odium choosing a champion if they have the same abilities, but just like, you know, on different sides. You know?
So we start this chapter with Kaladin's point of view, as he has a crier repeat the words of the king's proclamation to him. Sigil was repeating the message to himself to remember it as the messenger repeats the message about how Dalinar, as High Prince of War, has decided that the High Princes will work together in pairs to go after the Gem Hearts, and that the king will determine how the spoils of the Gem Hearts are allocated based on how well the pair work together. Kaladin thinks briefly about the break-in to Dalinar's quarters the other night and how he thinks Dalinar knows more than he is letting on. But his train of thought is broken by Leighton bringing up how the other High Princes are unlikely to enjoy this new proclamation, as all they care about is the Gem Hearts. Rock also says that the High Princes are likely to riot because of the mention of having to follow the codes, although he seems amused by this. Kaladin then tells Moash, Drehi, Mart, and Eth to come with him to relieve Scar's team for bodyguard duty. So do you think Dalinar is going to tell Kaladin about his visions at some point?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's something's gonna happen that he kind of has to. Like he's gonna go into one of his visions while Kaladin's there or something.
I just
And then
want
he just gonna have
Kaladin
to
to start glowing in front of him.
Yeah, something. I mean, they both need to show each other their powers, to be honest. But
They need to compare.
yeah, I'm sure there'll be some similarities. You know, they're probably on that same spectrum or something. You know. No, I'm still waiting for Seth to show up. Kaladin and Seth are too close to each other.
So Kaladin then asks Tef how his job training the other bridgemen is going, and Tef replies that they need something to inspire them. Kaladin suggests Rock getting a ton of food to have them eating more like their new station instead of what they were eating as bridgemen, and says to fill the storage room. He also tells Shen and Dabbit to help Lopin and Rock. Rock eagerly slaps Shen on the shoulder as the parchment gets up for seconds, and Kaladin thinks he's doing more things like that lately and instead of standing around in the back. So what do you think about Shen being a bit more confident lately and kind of like, he's not kind of just like letting himself be in the background. He's like asking for seconds and he's kind of like being around more.
Going to betray them all.
You know,
I don't believe that 100 at all, but like I think he's going to be on their side when they go to war or whatever with his like-minded brethren.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way I see it is going to be like something like Kaladin gets caught with his whole bridge crew or something, and then like Shen's there and Shen's like, you know, stops them or whatever from killing Kaladin or something.
Shen saves the day.
Yeah, well, just Kaladin. I don't think that's all of bridge for it, to be honest.
What were you gonna say, Darkness?
I think this is one of the things that gave me the later thing with the what is it, an epigraph?
Epigraph, yeah.
Yeah. So that later one where they mentioned the parchment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and how they're betraying everybody? Yeah.
Essentially, and the fact
that's it. That's the. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darkness. I'll talk about it in a second.
That part and this part of this dude being more, you know, active or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me the vibe of Warbreaker the most.
Yes, that's the one that I was talking about. So yeah, when that epigraph stated that Parshman rose up against them, who would have known that would happen? I was like, this is exactly what the fuck happened in Warbreaker.
Right.
Like absolutely the same thing happened in Warbreaker. Like the people you didn't think would do so are the ones that rose up and fought against you. Like, how do you not see that?
You literally like never really talk about them, and then it was like, oh fuck, in Warbreaker. You're like, oh yeah, there's just these other people around.
You.
But...
Yeah, I think that was one of the biggest like not theories that I was like kicking myself about. I was like, how did I not see this?
I feel like maybe it was
so
Darkness, but I feel like someone did
we did.
Yeah,
I called it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it was Darkness who predicted it at one point, and then you guys kind of like went away from it. And then you're like, I think Darkness brought it back a couple times, and then he was like, oh shit, what had actually happened?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it did definitely get brought up, but I don't think that we like went down the whole theory of like everything was kind of to blame for, you know, by them.
Yeah,
like,
I think it was also like
a lot of shit up,
especially when Darkness first brought up. I think it was more of a joke. He was kind of like, oh, what if it's actually these people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, because I remember I went into an explanation about it.
No, I think you did at one point, but I think the very first time, because I think you brought it up a couple times. I think the very first time you brought it up, you were kind of like joking about it, and then I think you kind of brought it up later.
Yeah, I started thinking about it more, and I was like, oh shit, they have the whole reason. And
yeah, I think you brought it up as a joke, and then you were like, wait, what if it actually is true?
But I mean, it's the same kind of concept here. I mean, like they make a very good point on it. Like if the other, like their brethren, I'm just gonna say it's their brethren, but if the other side of them is able to communicate with one another, you know, over vast lengths and yada yada, like why couldn't these people also do that? Like,
what if it's less that and more people from that side infiltrated this side by becoming more like the parchment they have already? You know what I mean? Like they changed themselves to like appear like a normal parchment.
Well, I think that's what the next chapter's epigraph kind of talks about, which we'll get to, is whether there's parchment.
This is the one that we were talking about in general right now?
Yeah, the next epigraph is the one that talks about...
It is the next epigraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that can be perceived as like the already existing parchment.
I mean, I have a theory that the books that's being read isn't being read by Yasna or whatever.
Navani, whatever her name is.
Whatever her fuck, yeah.
Yeah,
whatever the
it's
fuck that
Navani's
is.
journal that's the epigraphs are
Yeah.
about, yeah.
But I feel like it's somebody specifically reading it that's
Mhm.
like it's a past thing, not a future thing. But
Mhm.
I mean, it seems like the future, but I feel like that's a red herring.
I'm pretty sure based on at least from the year we know that it's either late 1173 or early 1174. So these journal entries, considering they're dated 1174, are definitely happening like probably soon after what is taking place here. Because we know that the war on the tower happened in 1173. So like the end of the last book happened in 1173. But I think it's like a late 1173.
They give a date? I don't remember hearing any date.
Yeah, so I think it was in the last book. They give a date on the map. If I can scroll up here on the pictures I gave you, I'm pretty sure.
I meant like they give dates for the epigraphs.
Yeah, they do. It's after naming her.
Why do I
It says from the Journal of Navani : let me scroll up. Jessacy's 1174, and Jessacy's is like a month and week.
Yeah, okay, that's why I'm confused. Okay, because the words are weird. All right.
Yeah.
Jessacy, whatever. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and Jessacy's is like It basically means like I don't know the exact translation, but like a translation would be like the 4th week of the 5th month or something. Gotcha. Is how that translates.
Yeah. How many months do they have in this?
They have 10 months.
13 months. They should definitely have 13.
No, I believe they have 10 weeks per each of the 10 months.
Oh yeah, never mind then. Never mind. That's a lot of weeks.
Because they
10 weeks for a month.
Yeah.
10 weeks per month.
But I think there's only 5 days in a week.
Yeah, that's 100 weeks though. That's crazy.
So it's like, yeah, I think it's like 50 days per month or something.
Yeesh. God damn.
It was like 500 days in a year, so the years are slightly longer.
Rent's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, so like the years on Roshar are slightly longer than Earth years, so like everyone's kind of like slightly older in Earth years than you would see them on like Roshar. Like Shallan, I think is like Roshar is the name of the planet.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why does everything end with R at the end of it in this fucking book? There's Dalinar, the 3 other fucking people they named.
R.
Right.
Scar.
Polinar. Like.
Elokar.
Right.
Gavilar.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so Sigzilin comes up to Kaladin. Sigzilin comes up to Kaladin, mentioning how Kaladin agreed to let him measure his abilities. Kaladin says that he guesses he did agree, and says that Sigzil should find a place they won't be seen, and in a few days they can meet up to test his abilities. Sildin joins Kaladin as he glances around Dalinar's war camp, asking why he didn't laugh with the others. Kaladin replies that he has a lot of responsibilities to worry about, and Sil replies that things are better now though. Kaladin thinks about how he killed for a Light Eyes again, but Dalinar was different. Kaladin replies that he's just waiting for the thunder that always comes after the lightning, like how Sil said she had encouraged him to kill but still didn't like it. Kaladin asks her if she's ever seen something like the countdown that had been on Dalinar's wall, and she just replies that seeing the future isn't of honor. As Sil flits away, Kaladin wonders why she still plays on the winds like a windspren, even though she is an honor spren. So what do you think about Sil agreeing that seeing the future isn't of honor? So we know that's kind of like a Vorn belief, but like, you can't always trust like things from like a long time ago, but even Sil agrees that seeing the future isn't of honor.
Okay, but I don't remember if she said it in a way of like, like it's evil or whatever.
She says say I believe in like an unhappy, like she doesn't seem happy about it. She's not she doesn't like the idea of seeing into the future. I can try and find what the exact something bad is gonna happen. Have you seen anything like the counter before? I remember something she whispered, something bad. Seeing what is to come, it isn't of honor, Kaladin, it's something else, something dangerous. So she specifically says seeing the future is dangerous and it isn't of honor.
Interesting.
So we then switch to Sadeas' point of view. Were you guys expecting a Sadeas point of view?
At all.
So Sadeas is staring at his reflection in Oathbringer. He felt like he should be seeing a man in his 20s, but instead he saw a man in his 50s. Sadeas feels like Dalinar should have been put down, but somehow he was still around, and it felt like Dalinar had gotten the better of him somehow. His wife, Eli, then slips into the room, and Sadeas knows that she isn't considered the most beautiful of women, but she was one of the most dangerous, and that was more attractive to him than physical beauty. So what do you think about Sadeas not feeling happy with the interaction between him and Dalinar, even though he got Oathbringer out of it?
Well, to be fair, he's right.
Yeah, right? I mean, like, or didn't win it.
But also, he's a pretty nice guy, Not
he's a great guy.
That's when? When
Not
does he mean
looking
the
into
nice guy?
people's appearance more than anything else.
Sadeas isn't a great guy, but honestly, he has like a pretty decent relationship with his wife. Like they seem to like really care about each other and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Right.
his wife totally. You know, he doesn't beat
They
her.
both
So.
want to fuck shit up.
Yeah, they're both kind of not great people, but they love each other.
And evil has to find evil somewhere.
So Eli then mentions that she's placed a few more of her spies among Dalinar's war camp, but not in his soldiers, as that would be too obvious. She apparently has the most extensive network of spies in the war camp, and few people know about it. Sayacin asks her about the reactions to Dalinar's proclamation, and Eli replies that the other High Princes hate it as expected. Sayacin mentions that he's getting tired of the games and wants a proper war. Sadia states that Dalinar is bad at politics and that he will cause the High Princes to turn against him. Sadeas will then forge a new Alethkar from blood and flames. Eli asks what happens if Dalinar's plans is successful, and Sadeas replies that that is what Eli's assassins are for. He then says that once he takes over Alethkar, he will take Yakovet as well, as training soldiers is what God himself wants. So what do you think about Eli having spies within Dalinar's camp?
Why wouldn't you have spies? That's the
Also, but it goes very well with the position that Sadeas had gained himself earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Where, yeah, and also, it could just potentially be them that tried killing the king, no?
It's possible, yeah. We don't know. This is the only Sadeas point of view we get.
Yeah, we don't
because
know
he doesn't think about
who
it.
tried to kill him. No.
We know that
Nobody
Elhokar
knows.
fucked around with some stuff himself, but also he claims that the plate wasn't a thing he did, so there's potentially other assassins out there.
That the message came from a Spren, but I think that Spren is being like, I guess not controlled, but like is with somebody else. Like one of the what are they called again? The
Surgebinder?
Heralds?
Oh, Herald.
What's the one? Is it Surgebinder? I don't remember.
Surgebinder is basically Surgebinder is the name for someone who does stuff like Kaladin, Yasna, and Shallan, because they say that technically they're not Knights Radiance because Knight Radiance were just like a title.
Okay, so what's the
so they're called
word for the
Surgebinders.
people who so they're the people who have Spren.
Yeah, they're the ones who have Spren and have powers.
Okay,
Heralds were people who don't have Spren, but have powers.
I do think it was a Surgebinder that probably told their Spren to go in there and make a whatever, because honestly, I believe Kaladin, right? I'm not okay. I just want to make sure I'm not mixing up names again. I believe Kaladin would have seen somebody who, if they had gone in there. But he
and we know that the Spren can make themselves visible or invisible to certain people, so they easily could have not been around. And if Syl wasn't paying attention, I think Syl could have seen a Spren even if they were visible to people, but like if she's not paying attention and if the Spren's good at hiding and like hiding behind people, she might not have noticed it.
Yeah,
if she wasn't expecting it.
I still think it was a Spren. I think the Surgebinder is trying to basically go against him.
So you think there's a Surgebinder kind of hiding around these camps somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, or something to that extent. Yeah, I feel like we're still missing a bunch of people. So
yeah, and I mean, Syl confirms that there's other people out there. So there's probably more than Shallan and Yasna.
Not another honor Spren.
No, there's no other people with honor Spren. So we know Zeth definitely does not have an honor Spren.
Yeah, well, I mean, I assumed that when Yavani and Shlong were talking about shit, and she was like, you don't have you're not the same as mine or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, okay. So I feel like if they're different and they have something very similar powers, then it's probably the same way for Kelsier and Seth.
I think based on what the little bit Yasna's talked about her Spren Ivory as well, is it sounds like Ivory, similar to Syl, might be the only one of his type that have gone out as well. So it sounds like there might not be anyone else with Yasna's specific power set either.
No, wait, I just want to know what Yasna's other power is. Her
we don't
powers.
know. And we might not find out now.
No, she's not dead.
It's gotta do with that though.
Well, okay, let's go down that road, right? If she was dead, does I feel like that means there's a shift in power, like balance in power. So you're gonna have to get somebody with her powers anyways. Then afterward, like somebody else is gonna have to be born.
What do you think happens to Ivory if Yasna is dead? Do you think Ivory kind of goes mindless, or do you think Ivory goes and finds a new person to bond with?
I think
both.
Ivory. I think kind of like what Syl was talking about, that they take a risk to come out here to find these people, and so I feel like he just has. If she was dead, which she's not, he has some time before whatever bad outcome would happen that Syl was so afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
To find another person, pretty much, who has the abilities.
Yeah. Also, what do you think about Sadius's plans here? The fact that he wants to like basically take over, and even like once he finishes the Vengeance Pact, he wants to like take over Yakabet and everything. Like he's got like big long-term plans.
I mean, you should be planning for the future like that, though. Like always.
Mm-hmm.
Should always be planning ahead. It'd be really stupid not to.
What's the question?
What do you think about Sadius's plans?
Right. No, he should have just gone with all out, bloodshed. Straight off the bat.
He says he's gonna forge a new Alethkar through blood and flames.
You think? I feel like he's a great candidate for evil spren.
You think he's gonna like get a void spren?
Yeah.
Which one was the void spren? Awesome. Which one was the void spren on that list? The picture we had.
Picture?
Or did we not go over that?
We've not seen any.
Okay.
Those are the 10 that are good.
Yeah, those are the 10 Radiant Order spren in that one picture.
Oh, okay, that's what.
Yeah, those are all the ones that. Yeah,
because that one looks very evil.
Very badass. Oh yeah.
The one at the top evil. Left.
Yes.
I believe that's an Ash spren. I believe.
Yeah, the one at the top. Yeah, the top left looks super fucking evil.
He looks cool. I like him.
He looks cool. Don't get me wrong. He's evil.
Yes, he is not a void spren.
That's what I picture Hoid is in spren form.
You know, not gonna lie, that's kind of what I would picture too.
Do you think Hoid's gonna get a spren since he's on Roshar?
Hoid is a spren.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. If Hoid were to get a spren, I think, or I'm sorry, if Wit was to get a spren, I think it would be Shalong, or not Shalong's, Yasna's spren, yeah.
You think he'd be an Elf Caller?
If she's dead, I'm saying. I feel like that's where the Ink spren will go.
I see.
Can he can go through Shadesmar too?
Yes. He only goes through perpendicularities. Anyone can go through a perpendicularity.
So
wait, anyone?
Yeah, anyone can go through a perpendicularity.
Oh, okay. I thought it was specific. Like,
nope. Anyone can go through a perpendicularity.
Wait,
if they know how.
I mean, this is now going to be a complete new weird thing that we're books past it. The one dude who was like crazy, and they put him in the water. That water ended up becoming like we know that it was like a portal to whatever.
Yeah, he went through to Shadesmar.
So what happens to living creatures that go? Where did he go?
So we know. I'm very much assuming that even without, since at that point like the door wasn't fixed, but we know that the powers of Dominion and Devotion live in the cognitive realm. Like that's where, and like so basically the Elantrians were creating small little tears through the physical realm into the cognitive realm in order to get their powers out. And that's how they do it. And so I'm assuming he may have become fully conscious and like a full Elantrian again when he went through the perpendicularity.
But what I'm saying is though that he would have went to Shadesmar, right?
Yeah, he would have just been like dropped through into Shadesmar.
So then what would have happened to him in Shadesmar?
As I said, I think he might have become a full Elantrian again because he would have access to the power again. After that, I don't know. He might have been with the people in Mistborn Secret History. We don't know where he went. He probably would not have come back through.
That Kaladin popped up with, right?
Kelsier, you mean?
When he crossed that ocean thing or whatever.
Yeah. So those were a bunch of Elantrians that Brennan has confirmed that those Elantrians were ancient Elantrians that went into the cognitive realm before the Riot. So before all the fucky stuff, and they were able to keep their powers because they weren't in Elantris.
They can live in.
Yes.
In Shadesmar, okay. So he could just be that dude could just be roaming around Shadesmar right now.
Yeah, he could be anywhere in the Cosmere. We have no.
And couldn't like what's his name? Hoy just get a spren from Shadesmar?
Potentially, yeah. You could bond with a Shen within Shadesmar potentially, but it sounds like they mainly go through into the physical realm to bond with people. But I think maybe it would be possible to bond with someone in Shadesmar.
I feel like if anything, Hoy might just go for a Shardblade.
I mean, I feel like he's gonna go for everything he can.
I mean, he seems to be collecting the powers, so it would make sense for him to want a spren to have access to the powers.
I mean, he has gotten everything so far, right? Every book.
He has not gotten the Elantrian powers. He tried and failed.
Right, I remember that conversation.
Yeah. So he has breasts from Warbreaker.
Yeah, he definitely has breasts.
Oh my gosh. And he has the Lerasium bead. We don't know if he's actually ingested it yet, but he has the ability to become a full Mistborn.
I don't feel like he's gonna like use them himself like that, but you know.
But he definitely has the raising music. He has the ability to become a full Mistborn if he wants to. He does
You know,
not
if
have
he's
access.
collecting all those powers from all the shards, then he's just going to put them together. You know.
He also does not have access to feruchemy because feruchemy is fully genetic, and as far as we know, there is no way to get it outside of genetics or being blessed by the shard.
Okay, but what about the?
He could have hemalurgy though. Feruchemy through hemalurgy.
Yeah.
He could. We as far as we know, he does not have any spikes, but it is possible. I don't think he would have spiked himself while Ruin was alive, just because of how Ruin could control people who were spiked. But now that Ruin is no more and it's Sazed, he could have spikes.
So how does hemalurgy work now that Ruin's dead?
Well,
Sazed basically controls, I believe, all 3 powers. Would be how it works.
Whatever.
Yeah,
my head hurts.
Pretty much. But okay, I mean, I'm still just that one. I'm literally stuck on this one guy just roaming Shadesmar.
Yeah, it's just this Elantrian who, might have met up with other Elantrians, or he could just be on his own somewhere.
Living his best life.
He's just chilling.
Can you imagine going from like almost fucking dead, while like mostly like going insane from all the pain you're feeling to feeling the greatest you've ever felt in your life?
Well, I mean, he was, I believe they confirmed that he was an Elantrian from before the Riode, so he was great. He was like a full-on Elantrian, then the Riode hit and he became a Hoed, and then he became he potentially became a full Elantrian again once he went back into Shadesmar.
I mean, I feel like we need a whole series just about that dude.
we need an Elantra secret history about that dude.
That specific dude. I just want to know where he went when he got there, because I mean,
I need all the cooks and old ladies to like group up to like
that.
perpendicularities.
We definitely need a Warbreaker secret history on just the
Mab.
Yep.
I need her, and I need that one old lady from that one tunnel that one dude went from in.
Oh yeah, the old. Oh, I don't remember her name, but yeah, the woman who.
I like how you remember Mav though.
It's because Darkness is so obsessed with her, and I've just gotten stuck in my head. Her name.
Mav is like the best. We've met her the very first.
You've met her for I think like 1 chapter.
Yeah, but I honestly think she was like in the very first episode of all of the.
Yeah, I think she was in the first episode of our first podcast episode.
So there's those 2, and then I need someone from Atlantis. Who the fuck would I get from Atlantis?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Are there any like
cooks?
Is there? I mean, her uncle was a cook.
No, I need women. I need an army of women.
Oh my god, of course.
You could have Rowden's stepmom, who was kind of like ditzy.
Oh my god.
Fuck it, right? You know, like, we'll go for it, whatever.
Oh, you want Rowden's stepmom? Right. Man, we need to make trading cards now.
Oh my god.
I'm just them.
Alright, that's it. Whoever's listening to this podcast right now, make a bingo card for our future podcasts.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
And then send it to us, because I want to know what you have on your bingo card.
Alright, so we switch back to Kaladin's point of view as he walks towards the king's palace. He can see some surgeons collecting knobweed sap, and thinks that he could have asked Dalinar to make him and Bridge 4 surgeons' assistants, but he hadn't even considered it. Kaladin comes out of his thoughts as they reach the top of the stone hill, and Moash complains about Kaladin using Stormlight to not get exhausted while the rest of them were quite tired from the climb up. So what do you think about Kaladin not even considering asking to join the surgeons?
He's not a surgeon, he's a soldier, so.
I feel like it would have been cool if he went up to Dalinar and brought up the fact that he could actually train people into being surgeons and stuff, but, you know.
Hey man, I used to be a surgeon, my dad was a surgeon, I could totally help you. I see that going.
I could be your surgeon if you want me to. Wink,
oh god, oh god, I could touch your body everywhere.
Oh god. As they get to the entrance of the pinnacle, a light-eyed soldier that technically is a lower rank than Kaladin asks about how they carried a bridge all on their own. Moash speaks up angrily, but Kaladin tells him to back down and says it was luck. The soldier then backs down and reluctantly calls Kaladin Sir, before Kaladin and his men go inside. Moash asks why Kaladin stopped him, and Kaladin replies that they don't need to bow to Light Eyes, but they can't be starting fights either.
Yes, you can. Start a fight. I don't care.
So what do you think about Kaladin and Moash's interaction here?
Moash is starting to piss me the fuck off. Like, I get it, but like, shut the fuck up, please. Thanks.
Which one's Moash?
Moash is the one who, he was like one of the ones who took the longest to like befriend Kaladin, and then he's the one who's like, I want revenge, I want all the Light Eyes to basically become Dark Eyes, and like...
Yeah, I do remember this guy. Okay.
Yeah. He's, I think, the one who's also the most skilled with the spear after Kaladin.
After Kaladin, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Kaladin's way too good.
Yeah, Kaladin's a prodigy with the
Yeah.
Zaddy.
That too. Too
So
darkness.
Kaladin explains to Syl that the Bridgemen are like uncaged animals that he created when she asked about Moash being angry. A moment later, Moash comes over and apologizes to Kaladin for his outburst. Kaladin finds that he has been confiding in Moash a lot lately and considers him a friend. He then makes his way over to Scar's group, who are currently on guard duty, and gets told it was a quiet morning.
Why consider that man a friend?
Kaladin relieves Scar's group and says Moash's group will take over the afternoon shift, and then Scar's group will be back for the overnight shift. So yeah, what do you think about Kaladin being closest to Moash of all the Bridgemen?
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, really. Like, Rock has done so much for you. Why Moash?
And
No, you know what?
Tattoo!
Yeah. What the fuck is that shit? Like,
Goddamn.
I'm also like, why choose Moash of all people? Because yeah.
no,
Rock's been
also
great.
Syl is part
Tef's
of Bridge
been...
4.
Hmm?
Syl is part of Bridge 4. Syl?
I think, yeah.
Oh yeah. Syl's definitely part of Bridge 4. I'm just waiting for her to get an outfit as well.
That'd be
I
so
think she
cool.
could probably just make herself look like she's
Yeah,
wearing
that's
one
what
of the
I'm
uniforms.
Yeah, just give herself an outfit. Just manifest everything else. Why not manifest that?
So once in the room where the king, Dalinar, and Navani were, Kaladin has Moash and Drei check the balcony, even though Dalinar says it would be impossible for anyone to get in that way. He also has Mart and Eth keep an eye on the door. Kaladin then asks Elokar.
She's always a small little creature, right? Like a pixie.
Yeah, she's always I think like
she's
size
never,
of the palm of your hand.
Yeah, she's never human sized.
The only time she's been human sized is right before Kaladin spoke the second ideal.
So she has been human sized.
Yes, one time. Yeah, she became like full human sized when she was like staring out at Dalinar's men getting abandoned and like attacked on the tower.
So and she can show herself and not show herself. So wouldn't it be pretty cool? I don't know if I feel like they could do it though. So she could be in that uniform.
She could, but
be a part of Bridge 4.
She would still look like she's still like fully like white and blue. Like she would not look like a person properly.
I mean,
she would very obviously be a spread.
Wait, didn't we just meet somebody? Oh no, we didn't meet them. They were in that weird like offshoot thing, with the guy who had like blue skin and all the words all over him.
Yeah, but he's not a spren.
No, but I mean, you could say that that's who you were.
Pretend that is. she's a Siamian.
Whatever that race is, yeah. Whatever that race is, yeah.
If he needs a spren, though, I can be his spren.
Oh my gosh, Degnus.
Alright, we already know you're an ink spren, okay?
Oh, that would be so hilarious if
where
you
was
knew.
I?
So wait, if this is if these are the Radiant Sprens, right? That's what you said they were. Okay, does that mean that if we're gonna go with an if here, if there is the other side of that, right? Do we get pictures of those too?
So those were plushies. So I believe there are like images online of the other spren, but yeah, there's no like plushies of them. The pictures I sent were like of the plushies he's selling.
Okay. So he only sells the Radiant plushies?
Well, I mean, those only like just came out. Yeah, maybe he will in the future sell like the Void Spren plushies and stuff.
Oh,
but
damn.
currently, yeah, he's only selling the Radiant Order plushies.
Let me not say that actually.
I mean, if the Radiant Order plushies do well, he might do other plushies. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
I think this is his first time doing plushies.
Maybe I can commission somebody to do a plushie for me.
Yeah.
And be like, look, Brandon, they want
this
it.
is how you do it.
But yeah, so Kaladin then asks.
Void Spren.
Kaladin then asks Elokar if there are any secret passages, although Elokar says if there were, he wouldn't tell anyone. Kaladin says if he doesn't know about them, he can't have them guarded, and Elokar tells Dalinar that he likes Kaladin. Elokar is also surprised to see a captain's insignia on Kaladin's uniform, as Dalinar puts him off to the side for a moment. So are you surprised that Elokar seems to like Kaladin?
Not at all. Everybody likes
Who the
Kaladin.
fuck is Elokar?
They get to know him.
Elokar's the king.
Right, the king.
The one that's saying that he's gonna get murdered, remember?
Well, he is gonna get murdered, but you know.
Yeah, eventually. I
By
feel like
me.
it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be Dalinar that murders him, but you know.
So Dalinar tells Kaladin that Elokar has an unhealthy paranoia about assassins. Dalinar also brings up that he should be called Bright Lord, not Sir. But Kaladin says that everyone who he has called Bright Lord has betrayed him, so he puts more respect towards people he calls Sir. Dalinar then tells Kaladin to have his men step to the sides of the doors where they can't hear the conversation, but that Kaladin is to be inside the room to hear what they are discussing. He also tells Kaladin who is allowed inside the room for the meeting, and to tell his men that anyone else can wait until their meeting is over. So what do you think about Kaladin insisting on calling Dalinar Sir instead of Bright Lord?
You know, with his logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's holding him up to like a higher standard, so.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, for me, Sir is like the highest respect I will call you.
Yeah, which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
You already don't trust this guy, and you're giving him all your respect. God.
I mean, he did save them. He's like, wary of him.
Did he though?
Did.
No.
Through marriage, you're right.
Oh my gosh.
No, that's the other way. That's the other person. The other person getting saved through marriage, right?
Yeah, Shalon.
That's Shalon getting,
Oh, I forgot about that actually.
Yeah, she's potentially gonna get engaged to Adolin.
What's his nuts? Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who,
if she can even make it to the Shattered Plains at this point.
She'll make it. You say that, like, come on.
I'll carry her just like I carry Jasna.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jasna's not dead, so.
Not at all. I would never let her die.
Exactly.
So Adolin and Renarin soon arrive.
I'm gonna find it hilarious if it is actually confirmed in all of what
she's dead.
Saying right
now. Adolin and Renarin soon arrive, and Adolin notes that Kaladin should be waiting outside, although Dalinar says Kaladin needs to know of any danger to them. Kaladin thinks that Adolin looks like a spoiled rich boy, as his clothing is quite fancy, even if it's still a uniform. Renarin, however, confuses Kaladin as he follows his brother like a shadow, but his hands show he hasn't fought or worked hard. Kaladin does remind himself that Adolin helped the woman in Sadeas' camp, though. Adolin speaks quietly to Dalinar and says that they barely know Kaladin, but Dalinar replies that if he's sure anyone isn't working for Sadeas, it's Kaladin. Teshif and his wife then come into the room, the last of the people for the meeting, and report that the High Princes are upset as expected. Elhokar says it was good that Dalinar hadn't put in the proclamation that he's forcing people to follow the codes or have their assets seized, but Dalinar says he still plans to do that, and wonders if it would have been better to send it all out at once. He also makes a metaphor about pulling out an arrow all at once, but Kaladin thinks that as a surgeon it's better to leave the arrow in to keep in the blood until a surgeon can see the wounded man. Kaladin is surprised by how whiny Elhokar is, as he and Dalinar go back and forth for a bit. Adolin suggests trying to get some of the High Princes on their side, as Sadeas is also likely doing, but Teshef says that this will just cause a civil war and break Elhokar, although Dalinar says they never really reformed Elhokar properly. Dalinar also briefly mentions the Everstorm, which confuses Elhokar, but Dalinar moves past that without elaborating. Kaladin is concerned about how Dalinar acts as if he is king and how others seem to also act like that, as it reminds him a bit of Amaram. So, do you think Dalinar is going to tell Elhokar and the others about his visions?
Yeah.
Eventually.
He's going to have to eventually.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't already.
He's just making references, and Elhokar's like, the fuck are you talking about?
When he started talking about that too, I was like, huh, you're just going to say that without any explanation?
Apparently. So Dalinar then says he needs to treat the High Princes like new recruits who are misbehaving, and Kaladin says that Dalinar needs to disarm them. He asks if Dalinar can take away their soldiers, but Dalinar replies that the soldiers swear to their High Prince, not to the crown directly. Dalinar then says that he wants the High Princes mad, and that he wants them to think that he's going to take things away from them, which leads him to telling Adolin that he will allow him to start dueling other Shardbearers again, as the other High Princes aren't acting like they are at war. The general says that the Shardbearers won't agree to the duels, but Dalinar says that Adolin should shame or force them into duels, and try to take as many shards from the Shardbearers as possible.
I think this plan is amazing, by the way.
Adolin wants to start with Sadeas, but Dalinar replies that Sadeas is the most unlikely to accept, and says to start with the lower Shardbearers and work his way up. Kaladin thinks that Adolin is both spoiled and cocky, as Adolin says he'll take down the Shardbearers without breaking a sweat. Dalinar then brings up that he and Navani will work to try and convince the other High Princes that they need a properly unified Alethkar. So yeah, what do you think about Adolin's excitement about getting to duel people again?
Sounds like man is ready for war.
He's fucking ready.
Yeah, where was he when all that shit was happening?
What do you mean?
Well, he was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like where was this I'm gun ho, I'm gonna fight shit when that happened?
Well, I think I think he was doing well because he was trying to get to his dad. But also I think Dalinar says in the first book that Adolin enjoys war, but his true passion in life is one-on-one dueling.
Yeah, and he was forbidden from it too, huh?
Yeah, because part of the codes is that you're not
while they're
dueling.
At war. That's the part that I kind of laughed at when it was so I forbade him to do it because we were at war. But everybody else is saying we're not at war, so...
He's like, they're not treating it like war, they're treating it like games, so yeah, go for it, Adolin. If they're not going to act like they're at war, then go fight them.
Yeah, exactly.
And take their shit,
Yeah, take their fucking blades and plate away from them. Get fucked.
He's like, I love having a gambler son.
It's not even gambling, he just likes fighting people.
Well, if you bet stuff, it's still gambling, but yeah.
I don't think, I mean, Adolin's...
Honestly, I feel like being defeated in general while you have a shard blade or a shard plate is kind of like gambling it in general, because if you lose, that goes away.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not really gambling when it's a skill-based thing. It's more like, oh, you won X skill-based thing, so this is your prize. Whereas gambling's more like luck-based. If the people in the stands, the people in the stands betting on it would be gambling, but as the actual duelist, I don't think it's considered gambling.
Well, if you bet stuff in general, it's considered gambling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, even if it's not luck based, I mean, like people who like the like football players, right? Who
Mhm.
bet on their team winning are still even if they're playing, they're still gambling.
I guess.
And
I mean, there's
I
always.
was thinking
I
like
think
racing.
gambling is just if there's as long as there's a chance to lose,
Yeah.
and he still has a chance to lose, may it be slim or not.
Also, but like that would be so embarrassing if for the other people if he just sweeps through all of them. You know?
I
Yo.
mean, it would be very embarrassing, 100%.
Redder might actually get his own shard blade as well if Adolin starts winning all this shit.
Wait. Adolin doesn't have a shard blade, or does he?
No, I said Redder might get one. Adolin
Yeah,
has.
no, Adolin.
Yeah,
Adolin
Adolin has
has a
both a
shard
blade
blade.
and a plate.
Yeah, so he's definitely gambling then, because if he loses, those go away too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
you'd fight and say like whoever wins get the other person's shards.
That's how is that not gambling midnight? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't consider it gambling when it's like you're the one doing like a skill based thing.
Okay, but you're putting stuff at risk that
I mean,
you don't
it's like-
have to
I
put
mean,
it.
poker and all of that is still skill based, by the way.
It's still partially luck based though, because you don't know what cards you're getting.
So is fighting.
How is
You don't know
'Cause
what
you
that
know your
person may or
skills.
may not be able to actually do.
Right, but you don't know exactly what they're gonna do against you, you know?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
all.
I
I
just-
mean, there's always
I
luck involved
guess.
in everything.
I guess.
I mean,
I
it's
just consider it
definitely
more
gambling,
competition than
because-
gambling. I don't really consider competitions gambling.
I mean, a competition would just be if I win, I win. If you lose, you lose. No stakes whatsoever. The moment you add
guess.
stakes, it makes gambling. And he's gambling his own shard blade, shard plate, whatever. I don't know if he's gonna lose a bowl, but just in general.
I think generally it'd be. I mean, it depends on what they decide on for the duel, but I think it's generally you lose one at a time. Like it's usually
I
one
give up
shard.
the shard
I think.
plate first. Yeah, give up shard plate first, and then go up the plate.
Nah, do everything. Gamble everything and then just leave butt naked.
Also, what did you think about Dalinar's plan in general of like Adolin like trying to like slowly take things from the other high princes by like fighting all their shard bearers?
Yeah, I mean it's a great idea. I mean, if Adolin's actually that good,
Which it sounds. I think Dalinar says in the first book like Adolin is
Yeah.
very good. Like before they
Yeah.
like. When he actually was dueling before they went to war, like he was amazing, and I think he still practices and does like non like for stuff bouts with people with like training swords and stuff to keep his
Now,
skills
see,
up.
here's the thing, right? It would be hilarious if Adolin goes up to one of these people who has a shard blade, shard plate, whatever, and is like, I won't even use mine, and I'm going to beat you.
Damn, that'd be impressive.
Yeah, and then that would be embarrassing as all
That'd be
hell.
super embarrassing.
Like, I could see that being, like, to get them in, like, to want to do it, or be, willing to do it, like, to say, hey, if I won't use my shard blade or shard plate, and you can, I feel like they'd be much more inclined to, fight him. So,
Huh.
and I mean, we already know that they can be defeated. Like, these people who have these things can be defeated without them,
Because
without
of
having them.
Kaladin,
Yeah.
Kaladin did it. I mean, Kaladin has powers, but Kaladin did it.
No, but he did it without powers before, right?
Yeah, he did it without powers back when he was in
Did he,
Amaran's
though?
army.
Syl said she's been here a long time.
She's been here, but I don't believe he started using any powers back then. Like I think they started
No.
hanging around.
I mean,
first.
he didn't know he was using his powers before. Maybe he tapped into it, unconsciously. That's just a thought.
Fair.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just there.
I feel
Yeah.
like all of these friends seem to hold that same regard of like they've been with these people that they're with for a lot longer than these people realize,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah. But yeah, so Elhokar brings up that the High Princes would likely send assassins, not at them, but at Dalinar's sons and at Elhokar's mother. Dalinar finds this troubling, but says he can't do anything else. He also says that he wants, by the end of this, to have a truly unified Elhokar with High Princes who are loyal and just. Dalinar also says he wants to refound the Knights Radiant, which almost causes Kaladin to drop his spear in shock. The others protest, but Dalinar says that the Knights Radiants were just once. Even the Vorn Church admits this, as they couldn't have fallen if they weren't good at one point. He says it is what he has been told he must do, and there is a terrible storm coming. Kaladin narrows his eyes as he tries to figure out if Dalinar had seen him using his powers out in the battlefield or not. So what did you think about Dalinar stating that he wants to refound the Knights Radiant?
I mean, what his visions are telling him.
He's uniting them.
I feel like he might be overestimating his dreams again, but
Well, he says, I think, that even if he can't like actually bring back like the powers that the Knights Radiant had, he still wants to bring back kind of like the ideals and like the meaning behind the Knights Radiant.
It's fine. Storm Daddy knows what he's doing.
So the conversation continues for a while, and once it ends, Dalinar comes up to Kaladin to ask about guard details for Navani and his sons. Dalinar also mentions the 60-day warning again and explains to Kaladin that he wants to slowly replace the King's Guard with Kaladin's Bridgemen. Kaladin is worried about this when he only has a couple dozen men from Bridge 4, and the other Bridgemen aren't well trained. They agree to let the other Bridgemen begin training to do the patrols outside of the war camp so that they can get training without being out in the battlefield. Dalinar also tells Kaladin about Elhokar's failed Shardplate and how it was likely an attempt on his life. Kaladin then watches Dalinar leave, thinking that he acted like a good man, but he also united Alethkar by wading through blood. Plus, he wanted to refound the Knights Radiant, but it wasn't something he could do without help. So what do you think about the fact that Dalinar wants Kaladin and his men to be the main guards for his family and for the king?
a lot of respect, to be honest.
He's putting a lot of trust in them.
He is. So let me... Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking, can you imagine if... What's his name? Shen gets put in as a guarding duty? Like, that...
It sounds like he's currently working as, like, part of Rock's, like, kind of, like, quartermaster duties. Or something, guard duty. Because Rock won't hold a weapon, and Lopin's also there because he can't, with his, like, one arm, really fight too well.
So why is Shen there?
I think because...
To defend them.
Oh, okay.
To defend them. Yes, whoever's revving their engine.
I was listening to
go
those.
there.
Like,
I
drowning
just glared outside the window like you.
You go, person, whoever that is.
Hopefully it wasn't any of my siblings.
You show that engine.
Yeah, it definitely feels like kind of just like throwing shit in there because he's a Parshman. Because like they have Rock who refuses to fight, Lopin who only has one arm, and then they have
and then there's
Dunny. I think they have, was it Dunny or no, Dabid? I think it is. Who is like the battle shocked guy who still hasn't like fully recovered.
Interesting.
So Shen's kind of paired with all those people right now. But yeah, so then we have Chapter 6, Terrible Destruction, which sounds like a really fucking horrible chapter title until you realize what it's referring to. So our epigraph is, we have never considered that there might be Parshendi spies hidden among our slaves. This is something that I should have seen. From the Journal of Navani : Jessasen 1174. So what do you think about potential Parshendi spies hidden among the Parshmen?
Once again, it's like Warbreaker.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about the fact, though, that Parshendi potentially can hide among the Parshmen? Because we know that, like, from what we've seen, the Parshendi like have all this like armored carapace, and like the Parshmen do not. So apparently they can like make themselves fit in.
I'm gonna go back to what I said before, that maybe the people who have this like carapace and all of that are of a different like power set. I guess. Like,
do you think maybe they have like back in their like kind of like home base area, they have like a bunch of different Parshendi who like don't have all the armor and stuff?
Yes, and then also have like different abilities or something, kind of like how Kaladin is very close to Zeth, and Yavani is very close to Shlong.
Yeah, so you mean Navani's her mom.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the names. But yeah, it's like a lot like them, where they're very close in, all of this, and so maybe the Parshmen also have that same thing, like in their own way, shape, or form. I'm sure. Or maybe it's different spren that they can bind with, or something. I don't know. Like that would be pretty cool. To be honest. Like different spren that like they could bind with multiple spren or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, and they're just like, hey, I choose this one today, and then they get like armor or some shit,
So
would you be able to
at all?
combine with multiple spren?
We don't know.
But you do.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she won't tell us. That's why I'm making the theory. I mean, just because Syl said she's the only honor spren, I don't believe it. Now, here's the other thing, though. What if Void Spren are completely different? What if they're binding with Void Spren, like all the different types of Void Spren, of the Void, of course, So maybe they're binding with a bunch of Void Spren, and then Void Spren have a different, like, rule set for them.
If the Parshendi are combining with Void Spren, and they try to kill the king because of something that was happening and that will happen, like ruin everyone or whatever, right? maybe they foresaw it as in like.
Oh, because the Voidbringers can see into the future. So maybe they saw something horrible happening if Gavilar stayed alive.
Yeah, and or maybe that was the trigger that needed to happen in order for it to, like,
for something else to
go the
happen.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, if they are bonding with Voidspren, then yeah, it would be very potential that they could see the future.
I have another theory though. What if because it's stated that the Parshendi are like don't really care about being out in the high storms, right?
Yeah.
So what if they're gaining their power from the high storms?
Maybe you think that maybe they're getting like power directly from like the Stormfather or something?
What if okay, so I'm only going based on like my theory that like there's different versions of Parshendi.
Yeah.
At least 2. And what if like the Parshendi that don't have armor and don't have all of these like, things are Parshendi that have like never been in a high storm or something.
So like they wouldn't need the protection.
So like if Shen were to go into a high storm right now, it would, maybe he would get
like change. Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, definitely the Alethi and all the people who have like Parchment would definitely keep the Parchment inside because they can't survive high. Like the Alethi and like the humans can't survive high storms, so they'd probably keep them inside all the time.
Yeah, I mean, if that theory is correct, I think Shen's gonna end up getting armor and shit, but still be
on their side.
Like he'll be a ally to them, even though he's.
I mean, Kaladin's already felt that like he's like, I don't know if I like killing the Parshendi. They seem really honorable. They seem like good people.
Yeah,
like he's very conflicted. So like, yeah, if Shen like Kaladin might end up being like a neutral kind of in between party potentially.
Well, we do know of a specific difference. We just don't know what it means exactly. If you remember to that one thing where I think it was Gavilar or whatever met the Parshendi the first time.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how they saw the Parchment and they were like, what's wrong with them? Where's their song or whatever?
Yeah, they're like, they don't have like they don't do like the chanting, singing stuff. They were like confused by them, and they didn't seem bothered by the fact that the Parshmen were slaves. They like kind of like distanced themselves from these like Parshmen. And I mean, that might kind of go along with Yasna's theory about how like, oh, we like our ancient ancestors did something to these people that fucked them up, which is why they're not Voidbringers currently. So maybe that's so like whatever the humans did to the Parshmen, if Yasna's correct, could be why they're so different from the Parshendi.
Voidbringers also like they theorize that Voidbringers are the Parshendi, right?
Yeah.
And so what like everybody that has like a Spren or whatever get that like weird ass fucking name, So like what if it's just them all bonding with like the Voidspren that literally got them their name?
Oh, well, the Parshendi was a name given to them by the Alethi. That's not what they call themselves.
No, I mean like that's like what you call the people bonded to like Voidspren. Just like Voidbringers,
I think if that is what they would call them, it would be a different name because as I said, like the Alethi are just calling them Parshendi as like they're like calling them something similar to Parshmen. But, like, the Parshendi, I think, have said, like, they don't call themselves that. That's not what they use for themselves. So they probably do have a different name for themselves other than Parshmen, because they don't consider themselves the same as the Parshmen directly, as said from the prologues.
Do we have any hints of any other names that we haven't allocated to any group or person?
You guys have not gotten a lot of the order names. You'll get them later in this book.
Okay.
You get the names of all the orders that are in this book, which is why, like, remember, I at the end of the last book, I was originally like, oh, we're going to do the Radiant Order quiz, like, later in this book, because, like, you get the names of all the different orders, but you're guys like, let's just do it now, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it now for you guys. So, but yeah.
Honestly, not a big spoiler, to be honest.
But
I mean, there was a couple things that, like, I left out just that specifically talked about, like, the powers that each of the orders have, because that kind of is a spoiler.
Well, yeah.
But just like the personality traits, I was like, yeah, this is fine for you guys to know.
Or is it?
No, it's fine. But yeah, so I believe
I'm definitely not like Kaladin, so
yeah, I believe it's the part 3 epigraphs in this book are from a book that explains all the different orders of the Knights Radiant. So you'll get like the name of each order and like their general description.
No, his name was Shen, right? The one.
Shen is the part. That's what they call him. That's not technically what he calls himself.
Okay,
because he wouldn't give a name.
We know he's male or male presenting.
Yes, we believe he's male presenting.
We believe or we know?
Well, they consider him male. He doesn't seem to have any sort of female characteristics, and I'm assuming, consider they all shower together out in the high storms, they would probably be able to tell if he's male or female, and they call him by a he. So.
Okay, because I remember Dalinar or whatever saying that he recognized that they were different.
Yeah, you couldn't really tell at first, but that was mainly because of their armor. I believe they could tell the Parshendi apart, like, back in the prologue, who was male versus female. But, like, I think with all the armor and, like, from being afar and just fighting them, they weren't sure at first.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like I said, I think that's my going theory, is that they go out into the storm and then gain this armor or powers or something to that extent.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
But yeah, I believe we do know that Shen at least has male body parts because of they shower together and everyone calls him a him. We don't specifically do, but the bridge
makes there's gender in the storm too.
Maybe.
Picture it didn't happen, you know.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's finally get into chapter 6. We're going for a long time.
Yeah, 100%.
I like all the theories though. It's really good. But yeah, so we switch to Lange's point of view as she sits on the deck of the ship, in warmer clothes than previously as it was starting to get colder. She was observing the spren that she had named Pattern. She explains food to Pattern, who replies that she makes it into her. Pattern then calls it terrible destruction, and Shallan insists they need to eat food to survive. She then makes some notes about how Pattern seems to understand some complex topics, but then not understand simple topics. Shallan then asks what Pattern first remembers, and he mentions her father's gardens, causing Shallan to remember the past and then scream no in her head. So what are your first little thoughts about Pattern as we're kind of getting more kind of interactions with him?
He's been with her for way too long.
Yeah, apparently he's been with her for years, it sounds like.
Yeah, before her father was murdered by her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she hasn't spoken of the first time she ever memory screenshot.
Yeah, no, right? She hasn't. I think she just says that she's always had that ability, pretty much.
Well, then I'm assuming that she had it exactly when.
You think maybe like her memory thing is more of a like ability of her order?
Yeah,
probably.
Because she can create like essentially illusions, right?
Yes, that's so it comes up, I believe, later in this chapter where she has the surge of transformation, which is soul casting, and the surge of illumination, which seems to be that she can kind of create like images and stuff out of stormlight.
Right. So that memory screenshot thing or whatever would come in so handy to make sure that you're
accurately making things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we officially know both of Shallan's surges. Illumination and transformation. Now
we need Jasna's and do we know Kaladin's? We do know Kaladin's.
We have Kaladin's both.
I think we only know one of Kaladin's currently.
Yeah.
The one he shares with Zeth, which is the adhesion, surge of adhesion.
Right. Wait, no, but we know. So we know that Zeth can do the freaking gravity shit.
Yeah,
right?
Zeth we know has the surge of gravitation and adhesion, and Kaladin we only know about adhesion currently.
Wait, so okay, whatever. I'm over trying to think this shit.
Hopefully, we'll learn about Kaladin's other surge once he starts experimenting with Scar.
Yeah, where we couldn't get to. Yeah. Get to it.
Oh, I'm so angry.
Mm-hmm. I will say it wasn't the very next chapter, anyways. So.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what do you think Pattern knows about Shallan's past? Because we know Shallan's like repressing a lot of memories.
Absolutely nothing. He doesn't even know what food is. He's like, I saw you stab that man once.
I mean, he might have seen things. He just doesn't fully know how to contextualize it.
Also, I find it fascinating how we'll just get there.
Okay, you want me to keep going?
Because we haven't started the thing where all the fighting happened and all that, right? No,
yeah, so Yaldin comes over to Shallan, introducing her to a new recruit that they got at the last port, as he tries to claim he met the king of Kharbranth with Shallan. Shallan says he had waited outside, but sort of agrees he was there with her. Yaldin sends the men off to do dishes and asks Shallan about how she made the wooden boards of the deck green around her briefly, but Shallan just says it relates to Pattern. She had tried to hide Pattern from the men, but Pattern did cooperate with hiding, and so she just says that he's an unknown spren that she was studying. So what do you think about the fact that the sailors know about Pattern because Pattern just like refuses to hide himself?
Kind of funny to be honest.
I fucking love Pattern.
He's like, Syl's like, I hide myself from everyone except for Rock, who has like the special ability to be able to see me. And then Pattern's just like, I'm gonna just kind of like crawl around on the deck, very obviously. Just hang out.
I picture, you know how I picture him? I picture him like crawling on walls and shit, and then
Yup.
being like hissing at people like a cat.
Like, That's what he does all the time. Is he like hums? It's like,
Yeah.
I love Pattern.
I have another. I'm stuck on Parchman right now.
Yeah.
I have another theory on Parchman though.
Okay.
If we assume that whatever her name is, the murderous woman,
Yasna?
is correct that Parchman or not Parchman, what Parshendi, right?
And she says both the Parchment and the Parshendi are Voidbringers.
Okay, yeah. If we assume that, right?
Mhm.
What if Voidbringers are of Odium, kind of like how whatever the fuck the other
The Knights
things were
Radiant?
called in Mistborn? No, like in Mistborn, correlating into Mistborn.
Oh, how like the
we're of ruin.
Inquisitors?
Yeah, we're of ruin or
Mhm.
hemalurgy. That's what it is.
Yeah,
All the
okay.
hemalurgists were of ruin. If we assume that, right? What if the armor and shit that they get and gain is actually from Odium, and because they don't have, like, the Parshmen don't have the armor, they're not connected to Odium anymore? And like they're, Parchment, maybe the Parshendi are being controlled by Odium, kind of like people with metal in them were by Ruin.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Yasna definitely thinks that the Parshmen currently aren't like Voidbringers because like the humans did something to them in the past. So like they've somehow like their connection to being a Voidbringer has been severed, which included
The
like
only thing different is the
fucking up
fact
their
they have no armor.
sentience.
Yeah, they don't have any armor, so
Yeah, and so like, and the
Totally the only
Parshendi
difference.
obviously are like this small group that obviously got like missed, or like they didn't get caught up in whatever happened to all the Parshmen in the past because they have like proper sentience and everything.
also now you made me think about if Parshendi is what these people call them, and they may have their own name. I'm trying to think of what they would name themselves.
Yeah, we don't know what they call
The
themselves,
crab
but
people.
yeah, we just know that the Alethi call them Parshendi because the Nd part I don't know what it means, but it's instead of being Parshmen, it's Parshendi.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to derail. I'm just
Yeah, no problem.
thinking
You
a lot
keep
about
thinking about it. We
Parshendi
can
right now.
go. We can go some more.
I mean, that's
into
the
it
whole
later.
point of this thing, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, true. But I'm just
I
thinking a
enjoy
lot
it.
of Parshendi right now. I'm kind of
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll come back to it. You
removed off
can think about it while we continue.
Mhm.
So Pattern then says Yelb was telling lies, and Shallan agrees, causing Pattern to hum happily. Shallan asks if Pattern likes lies, and he replies that he likes good lies. Shallan asks what a good lie is, and Pattern replies that a good lie is a true lie, which Shallan just replies that those words are opposites. Shallan makes a few notes before going down to her cabin to do some more research about Spren that can speak. She reads for a few hours before closing her book and thinking about how well her life is going currently. Apparently, after her brothers heard about Yasna's plan, they were re-energized to keep things going until they could get the Soulcaster fixed. So what do you think about Pattern liking true lies?
Does that make sense? You're literally putting two opposites together. Truth
I
and
feel
lies
like
are not the same.
It's less a true lie and more like he's too stupid to think of the right fucking word for it.
Yeah, I think what Pattern is implying that he likes is he likes kind of like these exaggerations and like these lies that kind of mix with truth.
Yeah, like a deceit.
Yeah, he likes kind of like these exaggerated and type things. He's like, because Yalb was kind of telling the truth, but then exaggerating it and lying about certain other things. And Pattern kind of like likes that. He likes when things
How
are
you
like,
lie.
yeah, but it's not like a full out lie.
Weave it with the truth.
Yeah, it's an exaggeration is kind of like the closest word to it. Because it's not like an outright lie, like Yalb was like on the ship and he's like, oh yeah, I was with Shallan meeting the king. Instead, he got Shallan to the king. No, he was waiting outside the Palatine.
He was there meeting the king. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This man would not lie.
But yeah, so Pattern kind of I think likes lies that are mixed with the truth. He kind of likes this kind of like two sides of the same coin type thing where he's like there's like this mixture and you can't really like always tell the difference. Lies that like are harder to tell are lies. I think that's what he considers a good lie. So Shallan then reaches into her safe pouch to get some more spheres, but finds them all done, even though they were infused in the most recent high storm. Pattern hums the word lies from nearby as she gets up to go see Yasna for some more spheres. Shallan peeks into Yasna's cabin and sees the woman looking completely exhausted. Shallan tries to sneak away to not bother Yasna, but Pattern shouts the word truth, which startles Yasna, who then notices Shallan. Shallan mentions that she needs more spheres, and Yasna asks if she was soul casting, but Shallan insists she wasn't. Yasna says she must have been using her second ability then. Shallan says she made the deck turn green briefly. Yasna then mumbles on about the 10 essences and surges briefly, and Shallan is concerned about how tired Yasna seems. Yasna then gives Shallan some more infused spheres and tells Shallan that the surge she used earlier is called Illumination, and that she should focus on practicing how to use it. Shallan is still concerned about Yasna, and then she realizes, by seeing a fierce friend, that Yasna is not just worried, but terrified. Yasna tries to tell Shallan that she's fine, but Shallan sits down and insists on talking about this. Yasna says that she fears that she'll be too late to stop things, and that Surgebinder's coming back, which is another sign of a coming desolation. So what do you think about the Surge of Illumination?
Illusion.
Yeah, right?
Unless they're solid. Like, unless, like, you don't think they can interact with stuff?
So far from what we've seen, it's just like, I think just light. And like it's not solid, but we don't know what she could do as she gets like stronger, further in the ideals, and like
she drew
as she practices.
Fuck, I can't even. She drew the span to life or whatever, right?
Well, I think she kind of drew Pattern into life, but I think that was kind of just like it was like a weird interaction between her and Pattern, and how like Pattern kind of fully came into the physical realm. But he had been there already.
Yeah, but he wasn't able to until she did that, right?
Yeah, he wasn't able to like fully come through into the physical realm until she kind of like drew him into the physical realm.
Okay. So
But I think Pattern doesn't really have mass because he kind of like blends, he kind of like is part of the surfaces he's on mainly, and it just looks like this like Pattern is kind of like painted on to these different surfaces so it can like move around.
That's annoying.
So I think it's similar to Syl. Like Syl isn't like fully physical, but she can kind of like manipulate physical things a little bit, but she's not like a fully physical entity either.
Yeah.
So Shallan then, sorry, were you gonna say something, Mythic?
No, you're good. I'm just thinking.
So Shallan then says they need to warn others about the Parshman, but Yasna says she's already tried and no one will listen to her. She thinks Dalinar and Elhokar might, which is one of the reasons they are heading to the Shattered Plains. She also wants to go to the Shattered Plains to learn more about a potential route to Urithiru. Shallan correctly guesses that Yasna is hoping there are texts in Urithiru that will give them more information about the desolations and the Knights Radiant that would not have been found and tainted by Vorinism during the Hierocracy. Yasna states that getting people to give up the perfect Parshman servants will be almost impossible, which is why getting potential evidence of them being Voidbringers is of vital importance. So what do you think about Yasna's worries and fears?
I mean, they're warranted now that we know she's dead. So yeah.
she's safe in my arms.
Sure.
So Yasna then gives Shallan a book called Words of Radiance, dun, 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 which has the most information she could find about Lightweavers, the Lightweaver Order of the Radiance. She then tells Shallan to go read, and she will sleep, but not to mother her, as she doesn't even let Navani do that. Shallan then leaves, and Pattern follows her. She crawls into bed with the book, but she's exhausted and soon falls asleep. She awakes later to screams and smoke. I feel like that would have been a worse place to end it on.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, what did you think about Shallan having the book that our book is named after?
No, not again.
It's another book!
Another thing. I'm sure it's gonna be of importance.
What did you think, Darkness?
Wait, what was the book name?
Book's name is Word of Radiance, which is the name of the book we're reading.
So it's gonna be a book like that in every motherfucking like
Probably.
one of these?
Maybe.
Maybe. She says that like yes, for
Maybe.
sure. It will definitely be.
I think the
That's
quotes
great.
we get about the Radiant Orders in part 3 are actually from the Words of Radiance book. I think this like book is like about, it's just like about the Knights Radiant and stuff.
Shocker.
And then we get Chapter 7, Open Flame. The epigraph is, I was unprepared for the grief my loss brought, like an unexpected rain, breaking from a clear sky and crashing down upon me. Gavilar's death years ago was overwhelming, but this nearly crushed me. From the Journal of Navani Colon, Jessasak, 1174. So what did you think about Navani's notes about her grief?
Think about what? Her
grief. Because she says the overwhelming grief she felt was like nearly crushed her. She's referring to Yasna's death, but she doesn't confirm that till the next epigraph.
Right. The one where she's like, oh, I thought she was immortal or whatever, right?
Well, that's the next one, but this one, she kind of refers to it before actually saying that Yasna's dead. She's like, Gavilar's death was overwhelming, but this death nearly crushed me.
You know what I think happened? Wait, I was thinking about when they go into Shadesmar or whatever, right? Do they physically go there, or do their bodies stay behind?
I believe they physically go there. I'm not 100% sure.
So I'm assuming that's what happened in Jasmine, where she like got fucked up and like, she went over there and hopefully she's trying to fucking heal or some shit,
You think she like transported herself into Shadesmar to like escape her death?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool as shit, honestly. Hey, it's a good fucking theory.
Do you think Shallan would have seen her though when she went into Shadesmar? If that's true?
Huh?
Do you think Shallan should have seen her though when she went into Shadesmar, if that was true?
Well, I don't think Shadesmar's like a fucking like 3-foot square room, you know?
Well, no, but they would have transported from like the same place. Like
You don't know
Shadesmar,
that.
they both transported from the ship. Shadesmar matches the physical realm. We know that.
You don't know that.
Yes,
Don't
we
worry
do.
about it.
We do know that.
What if she got carried away with her little boat shit that she does?
Maybe. But yeah, so Shallan wakes up to the smokes and screaming and scrambles out of bed, knocking over her goblet of spheres and scattering the light across the floor. She can smell the smoke, and she opens her door to see 3 men with their backs to her, facing Yasna's cabin. The men carried torches, which was unusual and dangerous on a ship. She can see into the room and sees Yasna's body thrown to the floor before another man stabs a knife through Yasna's chest to make sure she is dead. So yeah, what did you think about seeing Yasna die? All of a
She's not
sudden.
dead.
Oh,
What did you think about seeing Yasna get fucking stabbed then?
I mean, okay, cool. I'm sure she'll
That was hot.
find something. She'll find some way to make it, better. A learning experience for Shallan.
You see, that's why she's my wife now, because she knows how to
Oh
get
my
stabbed
God.
well.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jesus. You just want to plunge something else in her, huh?
Shallan screams, and one of the men turns towards her, and Shallan recognizes him as the man Yalb had been showing around the day before. Shallan slams her door of her cabin shut and bolts it closed. She stumbles farther into the room as Pattern mentions the sword, causing Shallan to scream no. She begins to hyperventilate, and Pattern says lies, but Shallan replies that she doesn't know how to use the lies. Pattern tells her to remember the time before, and Shallan briefly remembers herself as a child, playing with a pattern of light. What do you think about Shallan's brief memory and about Pattern referencing a sword?
Pattern, light. If Pattern grew up with her, stupidness aside, right? Is he a sibling or a parent?
I think he'd be a sibling.
Depends how old he is, though.
I mean, Sprenner, who knows how old? He could be, hundreds of years old.
So he's a parent.
I think he'd still be a sibling.
I feel like he's a parent with, Alzheimer's at this point.
But yeah, what did you think, Mythic, about Shallan's little memory there and Pattern kind of, trying to remind her of a sword?
So that she pulls out her sword, man. Come on.
He's like, dude,
honestly,
protect yourself!
She can kill all these people, man.
It's the fact that Pattern is like, fuck yeah, sword! And Syl's like, no, not the sword.
Yeah, Syl hates Shardblades, and Pattern apparently wants her to remember the Shardblade. I mean, he could also just not like it, but he's like, hey, you need to not die. Or he is pro Shardblade, we don't know. He's a little too stupid right now to kind of properly explain himself.
Sword!
So Shallan reaches down to the floor and breathes in the stormlight from the scattered spheres. Pattern tells her to make the lie, to shape the truth. But Shallan doesn't understand. Her door is broken open and a cloud of light leaps out of Shallan and rushes past the men, distracting them as they turn to follow it. Once the men are gone, Shallan tells Pattern to make sure they have left, and she slowly gets to her feet. She makes her way slowly out into the corridor, trying not to think about Yasna for the moment, and Pattern comes back to tell her the sailors are being killed up on the deck. Pattern also says that the men that had been looking for Shallan seem to think that she jumped overboard. So what did you think of Shallan's unintentional use of her abilities to confuse the men?
Very cool, to be honest.
I still want her illusions to be solid, but
That would be
'Cause
very
it's-
cool, to be honest.
what's it called again?
It's called Illumination.
You know, when, fuck, I think Pattern is the one that says light or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And when he said that, I'm like, light spread? Where?
No.
You know? But, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I feel like there should be more than just illusions to it, though.
Well, she also has a surge of transformation, so, we know, with Zeth, he's able to, combine his abilities.
Maybe she's
Right.
unintentionally combining them.
So, I mean, I don't think she is here. I think it's literally just,
She could.
a light illusion, but it's potential that as she understands her abilities more, that she could, use them in,
So-
combination together like Zeth can.
So in basic soul casting with an actual favor or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There are limits to what they can do to whatever, the rules are for a favor.
Yeah, so basically, what we've heard about Fabrials is that the majority of the soul casting Fabrials are limited to one essence. They can
Right.
only change, one thing.
So, but they all have in general a set amount of essences that they can do from those that list, right?
Yeah,
10 or
so
whatever,
I
right?
believe she says it's kind of like how in Mistborn you either have one or you can do all of them, and so I think Shallan kind of says a similar thing where the Fabrial Soulcasters either can do one or they can do pretty much all of the essences.
Right, no,
on...
but I'm saying the essences are a set amount. There's 10 of them you can do.
Yeah,
whatever,
there's
right?
10, and because we haven't seen a proper Soulcaster, we don't know if you can kind of play with how kind of like general the essence is. We do know that Yasna, while soul casting, she's like, oh, organics is difficult for me to soul cast, but like I can do blood because blood is one of the 10 essences.
Right. So does that mean that soul casters are limited to just that, and people who can do it without actual fabrials are able to do things outside of those?
Yeah, so as we've seen with how Shallan soul casts, she can pretty much, when she goes into Shadesmar, she can pick up any like object that has like a sphere in the other world. So like everything becomes like a sphere. And so she can pick it up and she has to like convince it to change. And based on what Yasna has said, picking something that is related to one of the 10 essences is easier to soul cast than something that would not be related to one of the 10 essences.
I like that it talks back to her like a sentient being.
Right! It was like an ego ship. I don't know if you
that was
know,
cool shit.
but
That was so cool.
that was so cool, yeah. But would she be able to do that with her illusions? Where she can just pick it in order to transform it?
Yeah, I mean, we know that you can soul cast like air and smoke and like gases and stuff, so it's very possible
So,
that
like-
she could like soul cast like the air around the illusion into something physical
So
and like attach the
point?
illusion to it. Because I think the illusion looks like it can like make things move, whereas I think like a soul cast thing, like it generally wouldn't be able to like move. It's not like a living being.
But can you soul cast something into a living being?
We don't know. I don't. Let me look at the essences. I don't know if you could. I think you. We know that you can soul cast like people into like stone, and fire, and all that. But I don't know if you can.
But
like,
can you soul cast fire and stone into people?
I don't know. You can make flesh, but I don't know if you can make like a soul. Is the thing.
Okay, but
So you make a flesh golem. All right, cool.
Yeah, you can make golems, I guess. Because yeah, the essences are Zephyr, which is like translucent gas and air; Vapor, which is opaque gas, smoke, and fog; Spark, which is fire; Lucentia, which is
so
quartz,
what if
glass,
you do
crystal.
make a flesh golem or whatever, like everything that a body needs, right?
Yeah.
And you go into Shadesmar and you grab like a fucking spren or something and shove it in it.
Don't know. I will be honest and say we have not seen that in the book so far. That is not something that I have seen happen.
See, this is where I would go mad scientist, like, you know.
Yep.
Anyways.
Can you think about it? Because in Warbreaker, you can do that the lifeless stuff or whatever, and you
Yeah.
can do like the stone versions
awakening.
of them or whatever,
Yeah.
the metals, right? So why not like spren golems or something like that? You know?
Honestly, if you were able to go get breaths from Nalthus, you could probably make like lifeless using soul casting. You put a breath into them and make them a lifeless.
Can you imagine? Just like that's crazy, especially with mixing shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
armies you can build.
I mean, if Hoyd does get a spread that has the soul casting ability, he could potentially do that because he has a bunch of that.
Bro, think about it, right?
Yeah.
Souls, I mean, like breath from like
Nalthus.
there,
Yeah.
right? The bodies from soul casting, and then just like shove spikes in them,
Damn, that'd be badass.
Yeah,
or a soul casted horse.
Oh my! Of course, you go to the horse.
Back to the horse again. We're back to the horse, guys.
Oh my gosh,
Horse sprens are just Pegasus.
unicorns. I think you.
I feel like it would be Pegasus more because
Okay.
don't they have wings?
Pegasus have wings, yeah. Unicorns don't. So if you're literally just putting a spike in a horse, it would be a unicorn.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though.
Alright, so Shallan makes her way into Yasna's cabin, knowing that Yasna's body had been taken away. So Yasna's body's gone currently. So that kind of does lead a bit of credence to your theory that maybe she like transported herself into Shadesmar if she was still alive there. But yeah, so Yasna's body's gone, and Shallan closes the door behind her. She makes her way over to Yasna's trunk, which had been rifled through, and opens a secret compartment that has all of Yasna's spheres hidden inside. Shallan can hear the sailors above shouting and being killed, so she tells Pattern that they are going to soulcast the ship to sink it. Pattern is confused as he asks if humans eat water, but Shallan replies they drink it but cannot breathe it. Shallan breathes in the stormlight from the spheres in the trunk and asks Pattern loudly to show her how to soulcast. Pattern replies that she needs to see, and Shallan realizes that he wants her to see into Shadesmar. Shallan replies that she needs the truth, but Pattern replies that she's already said enough truths. Suddenly Shallan pops into Shadesmar, the objects around her turning into tiny glass beads, and she falls onto an obsidian ground. Little candlelights hung around, indicating people from the ship, and even smaller candlelights indicating the sea creatures that were in the water around the ship. So as we know from Mistborn Secret History, like, the reason why she's not in the Sea of Bees, but she's on obsidian ground this time is because she's in water. So if you remember in Secret History, water and land are, like, reversed in Shadesmar. So because she's out in the ocean, she's on land in Shadesmar.
Wait, so what was Kelsier stepping on inland?
So because Kelsier was a cognitive shadow and not physically in, like he didn't have like a physical body.
So it was
he was
post-death
also
that kept him afloat.
Yeah, so he was able to walk on, because instead of like a sea of glass beads, it was just like a sea of mist in
Right.
in his world on Scadrial.
So it changes based on what the world.
As far as we can tell, yeah,
It
it seems to be related
okay.
to the power system of the world. So on Scadrial, everything was misty. In here, everything is like glass beads.
Balls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we know that when Kelsier though met Chris and Naz, who were physically in the cognitive realm, they were specifically, I believe, camping like on a river because that was like physical ground. And they were on either a river or a lake at that time.
The way if I literally walked into that like sphere thing, I would my demands would walk in there thinking it's solid, you know.
Then you just drown in like beads.
I can't even swim in general. I would literally just give up and die.
But what did you think? They have like all these little candles. So what do you think about not only humans having candlelights that represent them, but also animals and fish seem to have like these little candlelights?
I mean, it's a reflection of the actual physical world, right?
Yeah. So I believe it was the same in Scadrial. Is you see like these little like flames that represent like souls.
Has she interacted with them?
No, I don't believe she's interacted with any of the souls.
Do you know if you're able to?
I don't know.
Because if that's how it works, I can just shove those into golems.
Oh my gosh.
But it's interesting how literally it's not just humans that have it, but like also like the creatures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's anything with a soul has a little flame.
I wonder if doubt it. I was gonna say I wonder if Nightblood has one.
That's a very good question. I do not know. What do you think, Mythic, about her little transportation to Shadesmar here?
It's not like she's not done it before. Like I said, I think over time she's gonna get better at it, and it's gonna be insane. But at this current moment, it's very premature.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think her ideas are great though.
Yaz has kind of told her not to practice soul casting, so she hasn't really had a chance to like practice it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Shallan turns around and screams in surprise when she sees Pattern in his full form. Pattern tells her to choose the ship, and Shallan picks up the glass bead that represents the wind's pleasure. Shallan tells the ship that she needs it to change, and Pattern translates for the ship, saying that it cannot change. Shallan insists that the ship needs to change, as the sailors are dying, and changing is the only chance they have to potentially live. The ship hesitantly agrees to change, and the Stormlight is ripped out of Shallan as she is thrust back into the physical realm. The walls, floor, and ceiling of the ship melt into water, and Shallan frantically searches for the surface of the ocean. She had wanted to save the men, but she could only focus on saving herself. But instead, something pulled her farther into the water. So what do you think about Shallan's conversation with the ship to soulcast it?
Like I said, I'm so happy that they give it sentience enough to like speak to her and shit. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't want to change. I've been like loyal to these men. I protect them. And then it only changes because it knows like the people it cares about are in danger. You gonna say something, Darkness?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about it, and I like the idea of stuff interacting like that because I've seen it done in other places, specifically with ships, and I don't know, I just think it's cool that they have their own little thing. But it reminded me of that one story from the book with a bunch of stories, the little ones.
Oh, Arcanum Unbounded?
Yeah, where that one girl was like able to change the thing of like the way things work because she knew the history of them and all that, and she could rewrite them or whatever.
Shy from Emperor's Soul.
Yeah, her, and she was like. Or like something there was like, each object has its own like.
Yeah, so I believe what Shy is doing is basically like their version of soul casting. Like, she's using this same sort of like, I'm gonna convince these objects to become something else or to like change in some way.
Yeah.
Because like, I believe the whole objects have a will is consistent throughout the Cosmere. Like, this is just a thing. And so, so it's, if you're in Shadesmar, if you have, or even in the physical realm, if you have certain abilities, you're able to convince objects to change.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty cool that that's a thing. And also scary, because can you imagine how many things would, like, have a grudge against you?
So we then have Chapter 8, Knives in the Back, Soldiers on the Field. The epigraph is, I seek not to use my grief as an excuse, but it is an explanation. People act strangely soon after encountering an unexpected loss. Though Yasna had been away for some time, her loss was unexpected. I, like many others, assumed her to be immortal. From the Journal of Nemani Colon, Jessasak, 1174. So did you also expect Yasna to be one of the characters to never die? I mean, you guys still say that you don't think she's
not
dead at all.
Dead. Yeah, she's not dead.
She's not dead. You're not getting that out of my head. She's not dead. Don't do that fucking laugh, bro. I'm about to leave.
Don't leave.
Every time you do that laugh, I'm like, she knows something. She's.
So we switch to Dalinar's point of view, as he's out on the Shattered Plains with bridges being pushed across chasms and soldiers stomping across stone and wood. Dalinar had come to detest the plateau runs, as they were more about greed than the Vengeance Pact. Currently, they are arriving at a plateau run where Aladar's men were fighting the Parshendi, as Dalinar's men had arrived after Aladar's. Dalinar notes that Aladar is not fighting in the battle, but commanding it from a nearby plateau. So Dalinar crosses over to that plateau with his bodyguards, as he promised they would not fight, while Adolin takes charge of the soldiers who are going to help Aladar's men. Dalinar goes up to Aladar and says that it is good that he has support, since it did not seem like he was winning the current plateau assault. Aladar, however, says although he will likely win more battles this way, he does not believe he will end up earning more in the long run. Dalinar mentions honor, but Aladar replies that honor will not pay his men. Dalinar then threatens Aladar to follow what the king has agreed to, or he'll treat Aladar like he did a previous High Prince who had been executed. Dalinar is annoyed with his conversation with Aladar and thinks that Gavilar had always been the better politician than him. So what do you think about Dalinar threatening Aladar?
Dalinar threatening
The other High Prince.
Murder him. Murder him now. Dalinar. Don't threaten him. Just do it.
Oh, I remember that.
You do?
I feel like at that point, everyone's just done with everything that's happening,
Yeah.
Like even Sadi is just like, I just want to get this shit done,
I just want to leave, man. Just let me leave.
So Aladar then suggests that his generals that the Parshendi are trying to push forward, but Dalinar speaks up and says the Parshendi are actually going to retreat soon. Aladar doesn't seem to believe him, but he accepts Dalinar's advice and
The fact, like, if I was these people, I'd be like, how does he know that?
Aladar doesn't seem to believe him, but he accepts Dalinar's advice and tells his generals to act with the assumption that Dalinar is correct. Soon it is shown that Dalinar was correct, and the Parshendi retreat once the Alethi get their troops near the chrysalis. Aladar curses the fact that Dalinar is so good at battlefield tactics. Dalinar then notices that some of the Parshendi stay nearby, watching them, including the Shardbearer that Dalinar had fought on the tower, even though the Shardbearer had not fought during this assault. So what do you think about how good Dalinar is at battle tactics?
Doesn't shock me. Isn't he like the war guy or whatever?
Yeah, he's like
The
big war
Blackthorn.
general guy.
Yeah, that's it. The Blackthorn. That's the name.
He is the Blackthorn.
The Blackthorn. But yeah, no, he was put in that position for a reason, I'm sure.
His brother did all the politics stuff, and he did all of the I'm gonna beat people up until they surrender to us.
Exactly. Too long rests his brother.
Also, why do you think the Parshendi are just watching them after the battle?
They're crushing hard.
Of course.
Maybe they want Dalinar to go in. Because it's that one dude, right? That one big dude.
Yeah, the Shardbearer was like not participating in the fight, but they were like watching.
He wants Dalinar. He wants his boyfriend back.
So Aladar then thanks Dalinar for his advice during the battle, and Dalinar asks why he trusts him for battlefield advice, but not otherwise. Aladar replies that he could trust Dalinar, but he can't trust the other High Princes. Dalinar asks if Aladar will change his mind if Dalinar can bring the other High Princes around as well, but Aladar says no. Dalinar feels unhappy the whole march back to the war camps because of this, and Aladar keeps his distance. Once back at his bunker, he finds a letter waiting for him, and he asks a messenger to get Navani so she can read it to him. Once she arrives, she reads it out, noting it from a friend of Dalinar's who is making their way to the Shattered Plains. Dalinar thinks that this person may provide a solution to his problems. So first of all, what do you think about the fact that Aladar refuses to trust the other High Princes?
Probably a smart move, to be honest.
Yeah, but also it's kind of dumb how Dalinar gave him all these like reasons why he should, and literally unraveled the reasons why he shouldn't that he was saying, and he was just like, no, like, dude, at least give him a chance.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, your shard blades and shit are all gonna disappear. Just so you know.
I mean, they're not gonna disappear. They're just gonna have them instead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who do you think Dalinar is excited to know is coming to the Shattered Plains? Do you think it's gonna be like someone from another country? Do you think it's gonna be like a buddy from back in Alethkar? Do you think it's gonna be someone we know?
I feel like it's gonna be somebody we know. Just based
Wit
off of
coming
what
back.
you
Imagine.
said. Wit, yay!
Maybe. Dalinar was saying he wanted Wit back.
Yeah, he's like, where is that Wit?
I think he says that like shaming the guys into the duels would be so much easier with Wit around.
I agree. Wit is amazingly witty at that, you know?
He's quite good at shaming people. And then we have our final chapter, Chapter 9, Walking the Grave. And the epigraph is, I wish to think that had I not been under Sorrow's thumb, I would have seen earlier the approaching dangers. Yet in all honesty, I'm not certain anything could have been done. From the Journal of Navani Colon, Jessasac, 1174. So do you have any thoughts about the approaching danger anymore? I think there wasn't a lot in this epigraph.
Approaching danger is coming, guys. Every time they say it, it doesn't change anything. It's coming eventually. It'll be here. What was it? The Desolation? Is that what it's called?
The Everstorm, the True Desolation.
True Desolation. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I feel like there's been more than one of these. I feel like there's been another Desolation before.
There's been a bunch of
multiple
desolations. Yeah, there's been a fuck ton of desolations.
So what?
No,
so
but like,
it's not like it really. I mean, I feel like it kind of loses its bluster after a while, you know.
I feel like what they're saying with the True Desolation though is like there's no other try after that.
I feel like cockroaches will be cockroaches. So.
And to be fair, it's well.
What if the True Desolation is just the murder and killing of all of the non-Parshendi people?
All the Parshmen?
No.
You mean all the humans?
Yeah. Okay. So I need to come up with a different fucking word because to me they're all the same. I don't. Parshendi and Parshmen are like literally the same.
Well, Parshendi and Parshmen are supposed to be. What Jasmine has said is that they are the same people. It's just the Parshendi did not have whatever the humans did to them in the past. Like they obviously like somehow evaded being like whatever happened to them. So they're not like docile servants.
Of saying something that she shouldn't. No, I want to. We need a different name for them though, because I want to lump them together.
I will say you will at some point find out what their name for themselves is. They do have a name for themselves.
And they do a lot of singing. They could be musicians, just in general singers. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call them singers.
Okay.
They're crab singers.
The singers. Yeah, the crab singers. Yeah, sounds like a great band. Crab singers. All right, so I think that the True Desolation will kill everybody but the singers in this, and then everything will come back eventually because life finds a way. But I mean, I still believe that the Parshmen the singers are like what they used like they're the ones that have been here for like the longest. And like so like they predate. I don't remember what they're called. These people, they have a specific name for them. I think it starts with an A. No, the other people.
The Alethi?
The Alethi, yeah, that's it. I think they predate Alethi, so obviously the Alethi are scared of them. And so I feel like the True Desolation will only kill off Alethi people in general.
So you think it's not going to kill all the humans, just the Alethi?
Oh wait, there are more humans? Wait, what?
Yeah, there's the Thalens, there's the people from Carbranth, there's the Alethi, or just the people from Elethkar?
God, okay.
It's like calling you guys Americans.
Oh, okay. So wait, does that mean then the singers or Parshmen or whatever are
they're not human. They have
so they're not human at all.
Yeah, they're specifically a different type of sentient peoples. There's the humans, which are like everyone else.
We don't have any other group aside from them though that is non-human, right?
No, we just have like the Parsh peoples, the Parshendi and the Parshmen, who are their own thing.
And we also have
and then we have the humans. The Siamese, I think.
Are they human?
Do they consider them humans? Let me Google that.
They're
actually,
not.
I don't know if they're considered human or not.
I think it's gonna murder all the humans. It's just gonna kill all humans. But like I said, life will find a way, and the humans will come back eventually. In some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah, the Siamese are non-human race of beings. Okay.
Are there any other non-human races that we've?
Okay, so I think on Roshar there are the Amiens, and the Siamese are like a section of Amiens. So there's the Amiens, the Parsh peoples, and the humans. I think are the three types of sentient peoples.
Okay, so yeah, humans I think
that's not true.
I think it's coming to kill the humans. How many of the different types of people, like how many of the different other groups are there? Like of humans.
I mean, it's different like races, and they have like slight different like characteristics. Like the Thalens have like the long eyebrows.
Right.
But like they're all humans. The Shin are also people. Basically, the Shin just look European, whereas like all the other humans on Roshar look kind of Asian. But like in different.
I thought it was backwards.
No, the Shin people they keep saying they have large childlike eyes because they don't have the empathic folds that you would consider as like kind of like the Asian-looking eyes.
So what is so we have.
Where's the map? I can list all the people based on their country. So we have the Iriali people, we have the people from Azir, I think the Makabaki people are like from a type of humans, like race of humans that are from Amul, Chukar, and Marat and stuff like that. There's the Shin people from Shinovar, the Alethi from Alethkar. People from Yakinved are called Vedans, but they're also human. They basically look the exact same as the Alethi.
They're just from Sweden.
There's the Herdaz people, which is like Lopen. There's the Horn Eaters, who are from like the mountains, but they're all just like humans. They're all just like slightly different skin colors and like hair colors and stuff.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. I like the Makabakian so far. Like that's a cool name.
Yeah, the Makabaki people are like dark skinned people. Like they're quite like dark
really
in skin.
cool.
I think is it Sigil or Scar? One of the I think it's Sigil is Makabaki.
Wait, what was,
like,
what was
skin.
Rock?
Rock is a Horn Eater. He has red hair.
Is that the actual name of their
People? Yes, the Horn Eaters.
That's kind of cool. We eat horns. That's our whole shit, guys.
Why every time they say horn eaters, I think like
Horny eaters?
corn beetles, like the
Okay. Well, I think all the humans die in the.
I can send you the map of Roshar if you want, so you can look at it.
we got at the beginning, no?
Yeah, but remember he does audiobook, so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we did, but I didn't. I don't. I mean, we had to scroll all the way up to find shit. So.
Yeah, I think I sent you the map of Roshar from the beginning of Way of Kings, but. Yeah.
Jacqueved.
Yakoved.
Jacqueved, yeah. Okay, we can keep going now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Alright, so we switch back to Kaladin's point of view as he climbs down a rope and wood ladder into the chasms like he had back when they were in Sadis' army. But this time the ladder was newer and much more sturdy. Syl follows him down, and Kaladin begins walking over the debris at the bottom of the chasm. Rock comes down second, whispering something in his native language that Kaladin isn't sure if it's a curse or a prayer. Teft comes down next, and the new recruits that Teft had been training. Teft begins giving the speech to the men, and Kaladin feels like seeing Teft instruct the men felt right, so much so that glory spent appeared around him. Kaladin begins to walk off from the men, talking to Syl as she tells him that there are no natural laws, and Spren just act consistently to not break the brains of men.
That is so cool.
Kaladin snorts, but Syl insists that he should have at least chuckled. Kaladin then mentions that Dalinar wants to refound the Knights Radiant, and Syl says it's a wonderful idea. She also gets annoyed that she can't attract glory Spren like people can. Kaladin then asks Syl if the glyphs on Dalinar's wall could have been made by a Spren, and Syl replies that she doesn't know, but that she's seen Spren that are like red lightning. She calls them dangerous and says they might be storm Spren. So what do you think about how much Syl trusts Dalinar?
It kind of shows that maybe Dalinar is not the worst of people.
Mm-hmm.
She seems to trust the good in people. So.
She's been infatuated with Dalinar from the very beginning.
Yeah.
She has. I think she's just even more so now that he no longer has a shard blade.
I'm just confused why she'd become his Spren, you know?
I wonder if they're gonna fight for custody.
Oh my god.
I'm waiting to see what Dalinar's Spren is.
But what do you think about these dangerous...
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think about these dangerous storm Spren that Syl is seeing?
Are Spren ever really dangerous, though?
What if that's what she was fighting off in the storm?
Storm Spren?
No, like deadass. Yeah.
Fighting off Storm Spren? Yeah. No, you won't touch me. I am honorable in your storm.
But yeah, I think she says that the storm Spren look like red lightning. But then Kaladin asks if they're...
What if they're void? What if they're of the void?
Maybe. She says they're dangerous.
Yeah, they might be of the void.
So Kaladin then asks if there are others like him, and Syl seems to have been expecting this question at some point. Kaladin asks if she's going to lie to him, and she replies that she isn't a cryptic. Kaladin then asks what a cryptic is, but Syl replies that she can't remember, and is quite frustrated that she can't.
You know, it's so funny, because when I heard that, before that actually happened, and he said, would you lie to me? I said the same thing. I'm like, she's not a lying Spren.
As Kaladin continues to wander through the chasm, Syl says that coming to the physical realm was dangerous, and that without a person, she was just a mindless wind Spren, even though she isn't a wind Spren.
Wind yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, she's not a wind Spren.
In a dark area of the chasms, Syl says that there are others like Kaladin, and other Spren who are trying to find what was once lost. However, she says that she was the only honor Spren trying this, and that she had been forbidden to come, but had done so anyway. She also mentions how Kaladin had seen the Stormfather during the high storm, when he'd been strung up. Syl walks up onto Kaladin's arm and says that he needs to become what Dalinar is looking for. Kaladin replies that he's scared they'll somehow take her from him, but promises to try.
Yeah, I would feel the same way, to be honest.
So what did you think about the fact that Syl was forbidden to come to the physical realm?
By who?
Well,
that's what I thought. By who? Who would tell you what to do?
Well, it's their little council thing or whatever they have over there.
Over there?
In the Shadesmar, I think you're talking about.
Shadesmar?
I mean, because you guys just said they have cities and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the only ones that are well, I don't know if that's right. Right?
Go down the train of thought, so I know what you're talking about.
I feel like the other ones that were forbidden from actually going out there were mostly like ideas, or like the ones that permit them, to do all this stuff. Because I feel like
The idea spren, you mean?
you know how there's two types of spren. There's the
Yeah.
nature
So
one.
you mean the ones that Yasna says are probably all of honor? 'Cause she says like the nature spren are related to cultivation, and the like emotion
Yeah.
and stuff spren are related to
Yeah, exactly.
honor. Do you think those ones aren't? They're the ones that are like
Supposed to
forbidden.
be, yeah.
Also, why do you think the other honor spren won't come to bond with other humans? Like they don't want to try.
Probably because I think it's
Dangerous.
that, or like maybe the humans did something in the past.
Well, Yasna does say to
Well-
Shallan, I believe, at the end of the last book, that, or was it the beginning of this book, that like the I think it was the beginning of this book actually, that like Ivory's kind of like
Right.
hinted that like
Yeah.
the humans did something to them. They broke like an oath or something.
I believe that was like the last podcast we just did.
Yeah, I think it was the last episode. She said like they broke an oath, and she thinks that like somehow some spren died or something.
And so they don't want to come over here because of that, I'm sure. And that's probably why she got forbade to do it, and she chose to do it anyways.
Which is pretty
Better.
valid,
Mm-hmm. My rebel Sil.
So Rock then appears, calling out to Kaladin. Kaladin picks up the amethyst brown that was in the pool of water, and Rock eagerly asks for it to buy spices. Sil then lands on Rock's shoulder, and he tries to bow to her, and tells her that he'll make a shrine for her, which excites Sil as Kaladin tries to tell Sil to stop tormenting Rock. Rock mentions that Teft found a good spot to train the new recruits, and they seem to be opening up. He also says that Sigzil wants to experiment with Kaladin's abilities, and Kaladin replies that Rock can bring Sigzil here. So that is the end of our final chapter. For our overview questions, first of all, what do you think is going to happen to Shallan? She is lost in the ocean right now, potentially drowning.
She'll figure it out.
She could just travel through Shadesmar, no?
She's got pattern. She'll be
Mhm.
fine.
Didn't she get dragged down?
Yeah, she got dragged down into the water by something, she said.
Yeah,
It's gonna be that creature she drew.
The Santhid.
Yeah.
Also, how do you think Yasna's death is going to affect the other characters? Whether she's alive or dead, how do you think the news
Oh
of
my
their death
God.
is going to affect? 'Cause I know you guys don't believe she's
Well-
dead, but like people obviously believe she's dead. So how do you think that's going to affect the other characters in the book?
Gets back to Dalinar, I'm sure he'll freak the fuck out.
Yeah, Dalinar apparently was quite close with
Yeah.
Yasna.
And Navani.
I mean, yeah, we've already seen that like Navani's apparently she's going to be quite upset about everything based on her journal notes.
And Adolin, his future wife, died.
Shallan's the future wife.
Yeah, she's dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Drowning out
right.
the- Drowning out in the ocean, you know?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Elhokar probably isn't going to take it well either. Yasna's his older sister.
Yeah, like Philemon just not gonna take it, I'm sure. But all those people in the alleyways, I'm sure they'll rejoice.
I was thinking, what was the plan in sinking the ship there?
Well, she was saying that all the
She
soldiers
thinks
were
it, then.
dying anyway, so she wanted to try and give them a chance to potentially maybe like swim away or something.
Right, but she also said they might be tied up.
Yeah, I think she said she wanted to try and like untie them somehow, but like she didn't realize like, oh yeah, if I transfer the ship into water, I'm just gonna get like sunk in with all the water. So I mean, she probably got all the sailors killed anyways. But I mean, one or two may live. We don't know. We'll find out.
The captain lives. To be honest. Man,
Not Yalb. What about Yalb? Yalb's my favorite.
Yalb
Which
is
one's
dead.
Wait, which one's Yalb?
Yalb was the one that like helped her around Carbranth and stuff.
The one that was lying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was the captain. I don't know why.
No, Captain Toesbeck was the the Thalen guy.
Who's the one that talked to her or whatever in the very first book? When she was coming here?
Both of them did. The captain and Yalb were talking to her.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember which one had the conversation that I was like, ooh, I like this guy.
Where she was like
I thought it
talking
was the
smack.
captain, though. I thought it was the captain, though. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I think
that's
she talked
Captain
smack
one.
with the captain. Yeah.
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 But she also kind of does it with Yalb and stuff.
Yeah.
She was like, he was like, what a
Yalb's
pretty
a liar.
lady, and she was like, bitch, you're the pretty lady,
Yelb's a liar. I don't like Yelb.
Also, do you think Dalinar is going to be able to get any of the High Princes on his side?
Yeah, he'll get them all on his side, and then
Through
they'll backstab
marriage.
him, and then they'll backstab him.
All right, and then do you guys have any other theories you want to talk about that we haven't fully gone through yet?
No, I think I've went through my theories right now. I'm
Okay.
still working on more. I feel like there's more to unlock with these Parshendi or whatever the fuck what I say earlier, singers. Yeah,
Mm.
these singing people. I want to know what that's all about. Honestly, I feel like
Mhm.
that's gonna be
Singing?
like a power or some shit. It's gonna be like powers or some shit. Like kind
There's-
of like
There's song chanters.
good name too. I feel like it's gonna be like the Yasna and Shlong's abilities and shit in some way. shape, or form. I don't know how though. Also, if I'm right, and they can bind with multiple spren, wonder if that kind of leads to a premise that humans might be able to do the same thing, and if so, what if all of what's the Bridge 4 ends up having Spren?
Well, was it just Honor Spren that were banned? No, it wasn't.
No.
Okay.
Well, Syl says that she had been banned, and the other Honor Spren don't seem interested in.
Well, yeah, but I'm also thinking about the fact that that Ink one didn't want to be known as, like, you know. So
Yeah, he also said that, like, yeah, I think Yasna says that, like, the other Ink Spren aren't interested in.
I think that they're gonna have to go into Shadesmar and look into
And
the
confront the Spren.
Spren society thing and try to convince them to,
maybe
like.
maybe they'll get to see Electrians too.
I think they're gonna try and convince them to, like, do something, cause, you know, stop, like, just chilling there.
Alright, so for next episode, we are going to be reading Chapter 10 through Interlude 3. So we're gonna be almost at Part 2, the episode after. Yeah, look forward to that. I've got that pinned for you guys. So yeah, thank you guys, everyone, so much for listening. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.